We are marking and remembering the 9th anniversary of the Ampatuan massacre. CMFR, along with all the other media organizations, you've obviously been not only monitoring but working to support the prosecutors on this case. It's been 9 years. I mean, looking back, and however you want to look forward, but what are some takeaways about how this case has progressed, moved, and been handled?
You know, you asked questions earlier about whether one can be optimistic. If you look at the story from the very beginning, then there is no optimism involved, that it has lasted, the trial has gone this long without any kind of resolution, is a testimony against the whole culture of impunity. It is so difficult for for any of our systems to address a crime that involves someone in power. And this is a crime of someone in power. I mean, it was the use of police forces, local government units, civic groups, police groups, CVOs, which were involved in the killing that was a plot. And yet, when they set out to do the trial, there was a conflict about whether they should just go for those for which they had evidence that was strong, or whether they should include all the names. And the decision then in DOJ, and this was during the term of Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, whose alliance with the Ampatuans was a well-known fact. The decision then was to put every single name that came out in the 2 investigations, both by the NBI and the PNP, which meant it was going to be a long trial.
Yeah, this was, this was everybody from policemen, private army, henchmen, the backhoe operator, all the way to the Ampatuan clan.
Everyone who was seen in any part of that scene had to be included, and to decide that they were all going to be charged with the same accusation, with the same crime, in a conspiracy. Almost all the lawyers that we were talking to then said, this is not going to go very
we do want to get into the implications and to the debate that went on very early on what should be the strategy for prosecuting. But I still want to go to the first question, and it's a fair point that, you know, this just reminds us of impunity. That said, should this come to a guilty verdict 9 years later, granted, what does that count for?
Well, it will send a signal that whether you are a powerful ally of a powerful official or whatever, that there will be justice down the line. There will be that message. And I think if the media talks about this, does not allow it to fall into some kind of black hole of, a record of, oh, when did that really happen, or did that really happen? Because of the short memories, institutional as well as the public memory that is skewed by the forgetfulness of everyone else, we may not learn very much from it. Lawyers may not draw the cases that are the learning that comes from such a prosecution. We should keep that record alive, yes. But learning from what we have done or what we have failed to do, we have not had a great record doing that. So impunity is something that we deal with, but we really have not engaged ourselves in a consistent, what I call persistent, focus on what does constitute impunity, because it is systemic. The engagement of police forces in a crime like this, where does that happen? That indeed the police was part of it, or the law enforcement people. That the local government units, that someone who was elected was really involved as a primary suspect. These are unimaginable in most countries, and yet we have had to face it. And yet, even now, 9 years later, I think we still have to remind each other, oh, that's right, there is a November 23. Oh, that's right, we need to do it. Why are we doing it only during the anniversary? Media has trouble following that trial. And yet there are updates. There are milestones in the trial that could have projected how long it is taking. And the reason it is taking so long was because of a decision made, which I believe was a political decision.
And it could happen again, actually.
And it could happen again.
The environment that created this
Yes.
is still there. And would you say
Absolutely.
that has there been any improvement in Maguindanao or in any part of the country since this happened? The environment that created the situation,
No, the power.
both the massacre
Right.
and the slow trial.
Right. The how we treat local government authorities is something to watch when you're there. I mean, you think our government officials going around the Metro Manila is nothing when you see someone walk into a local airport and he's a local government official. The power that comes with local governance is something that is part of the impunity, because that gets into the head not just for the official himself, but for those around him.